A man from 1945 reawakens in 2011, a time beyond the war he was engineered to fight in. With a history of war behind him, how far along will he go before the darkness of history catches up with him? Steve Rogers, also known as the Great Captain America, jogs around the National Mall and jokingly mocks another jogger for being too slow on their run. The other jogger introduces himself as Sam Wilson, an ex-military agent working at Veteran Affairs, and the two talk about the hard times of war. The captain recounts older times and compares how the new age has things easier. Sam tells him about a collection of songs he missed out on while frozen, and Steve writes it down in his small notebook for later. The captain receives a message on his phone telling him of an urgent mission he must attend to. A car rolls in, with Natasha Romanoff, the Black Widow, in the driver's seat, there to pick him up and take him on a mission. A while later, braving the strong winds of a storm aboard an aircraft, Brock Rumlow briefs the S.H.I.E.L.D. team about their task. A mobile satellite launch platform aboard the Lumerian star has been held hostage by pirate thieves. The pirates, led by George Batroc, an ex-military agent, demand a $1.5 billion ransom for its release. Captain recognizes that one of the hostages on the ship is technician Jasper Sitwell, and the captain promises to sweep the deck and delegate tasks to the other team members. Before boarding the ship, Black Widow asks the captain if he has plans for set a night. The captain jokes about how his usual barbershop quartet is long gone, making him available. He jumps out of the aircraft immediately after. Captain boards the ship by climbing the anchor chain. He ambushes the patrolling guards, launching some of them overboard. One of the guards reaches for the alarm, but Captain stops him with a knife through the hand. A guard successfully holds up the captain, but is immediately shot by Rumlow. The rest of the team board the ship via parachutes. Black Widow once again jokes with the captain about potential dating options. Captain brushes it off and tells her to secure the engine room first, then secure him a date. Captain proceeds to jump across the ship's railings, heading towards the cockpit. There, Batroc relays commands to his men. In another stairwell, Black Widow incapacitates other guards as she makes her way to the engine room. The other team members also secure the other sections of the ship. The team members are in position and await Black Widow to secure her end. She returns their call as she disables the last of the guards. From the hostage room, Sitwell notices one of the members hanging from one of the windows. Captain starts a countdown for their team to raid the ship. Guns fire, and Batroc's men lay incapacitated. Batroc stands in the cockpit as Captain's shield swiftly flies towards them. Batroc evades it quickly, and Captain gives pursuit. Black Widow is reported to have missed the rendezvous point. Captain attempts to warn Black Widow about Batroc before he is ambushed by the latter. He engages Batroc in combat. After exchanging blows, the captain removes his helmet and threatens Batroc with a farewell in French. Captain pushes Batroc into a nearby room, where he discovers Black Widow backing up the ship's hard drives, a good habit she has adopted over the years. Captain reiterates that their team's mission is to retrieve the hostage. Black Widow rebuts him, saying that her mission is different from theirs. Retrieving her hard disk, Captain accuses her of jeopardizing their entire operation. Coming into consciousness, Batroc throws a grenade their way and escapes. Captain grabs Black Widow, bringing her to a safer location just as the grenade explodes. Amidst the rubble, Black Widow apologizes to Captain. Back at the Triskelion S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Captain confronts Nick Fury about Black Widow's alternative mission briefing. Captain accuses Fury for not having placed the same trust in his soldiers. Fury tells Captain that the last time he trusted someone, he lost an eye. Black Widow's mission was kept secret so that no one else would be able to intervene. But Fury does know how to share when it is necessary. Fury leads Captain to Insight Bay, a section of the headquarters with level 10 clearance, which Captain does not have. As Fury overrides the clearance, he tells Captain about his grandfather, who experienced the shift in culture within S.H.I.E.L.D. Overlooking the area that comprises the Insight Bay, Captain witnesses a fleet of helicarriers, each installed with state-of-the-art weaponry and carrying dozens upon dozens of aircraft. Fury relays that this is Project Insight, a fleet of aircraft carriers capable of staying in the air, synced to a network of targeting satellites. He also tells them that Tony Stark, Iron Man, had a hand in the design of the project as well. Captain disagrees with the goal of Project Insight, saying that the project instills fear rather than promoting freedom, which they fought for strongly in his time. Fury, though, demands that Captain faces the necessary compromises of the modern times. After this encounter, Captain visits the Smithsonian, where his life story is being broadcasted over the intercom system. There, he recollects his previous military ventures against Hydra, and he finds himself staring at a display of Bucky Barnes, his old friend who lost his life during wartime. Steve watches an old documentary of his exploits, featuring Agent Peggy Carter, his old lover. After this, he visits a now-aged Peggy Carter, who tells him how she regrets that Captain was unable to live his life. Captain tells her about how the times have indeed changed, and that he now has struggles with following the chain of command. Peggy is having a hard time in her old age, struggling to remember that Steve is alive in front of her. Back at the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, Fury reviews the retrieved data on Black Widow's hard disk. It is revealed that he, despite his clearance levels, cannot access the files on the hard disk. Much to his surprise, the lockdown of the files is also under his name. He makes his way to the World Security Council's chambers. At the Security Council chamber, a meeting is being held. They question Fury's motives and effectiveness. Pierce, S.H.I.E.L.D.'s secretary, defends Fury and addresses the council. He says that the recent hostage activity is a minor problem compared to the magnitude of Project Insight. Pierce is called into another room by an attendant. In the other room, Pierce convenes with Fury. Fury relays that Project Fury must be delayed, following the unprecedented issue with the retrieved files. Pierce agrees, but tells Fury that Iron Man must make a guest appearance at his niece's birthday party. Captain visits a veteran support group, where he sees Sam giving a talk about carrying post-wartime trauma. Sam and Captain share a moment. Sam recounts how he lost a friend in the war. Captain asks if Sam is enjoying his time away from the military. Sam jokes that basically no one is giving him orders now. On a drive, Fury calls Agent Maria Hill through a secure channel, asking her to meet with him for deep shadow condition. Shortly after, a police vehicle rams into his car, fracturing his arm. Other police vehicles surround his car, immobilizing him. Other black vehicles come, offloading armed men in heavy armor. The armed men rain bullets on Fury's vehicle. As his vehicle pings alerts about its structural integrity, a battering ram is offloaded from one of the vehicles. After taking heavy hits from the battering ram, Fury's vehicle produces a machine gun. Fury unloads all the bullets at his assailants. The emergency propulsion systems of Fury's vehicle engage as Fury attempts his escape. The assailants give chase. Crashing into civilian vehicles, Fury immobilizes his assailants, who crawl out of their vehicles and continue shooting at Fury. Fury maneuvers his way to incapacitate his shooters, ramming his beat-up vehicle against them. Clearing the way, Fury drives off, with his assailants continuing to give chase. As he gets pinned between two police vehicles, Fury wrestles with one of the gunmen. Amidst the chaos, Fury launches the two police vehicles into a rampaging truck. In a final attempt to evade his assailants, he gives the car a final command to get him off the grid. A man in a dark suit appears in the middle of the road, carrying a large weapon. An explosive shell is launched from the weapon, attaching itself to the undercarriage of Fury's vehicle, explodes. The man approaches the immobilized Fury, ripping off the vehicle's door with his bionic hand, only to find that Fury has cut his escape through the sewer system. Meanwhile, night settles in as Captain rides his motorcycle back to his apartment. He meets with his neighbor and offers to have her use his washing machine to help her save on cash. She asks how much it would cost, and Captain simply asks for them to share a coffee sometime. She humbly rejects the offer, telling Captain that he may have accidentally left the stereo on. Captain enters his apartment through the window, fearing that a trespasser may be in his home. Shortly, he discovers Fury on the floor, injured and bloodied. Fury shows him some text on a device, saying, "Ears everywhere," and that S.H.I.E.L.D. has been compromised. No one else but the two of them know of this. Shortly, guns fire, and Fury falls onto the floor. Fury hands Captain the hard disk and warns him not to trust anyone. The neighbor from earlier, Sharon Carter, enters Captain's room with her gun at the ready. She reveals that she is the S.H.I.E.L.D. agent that Fury assigned to take care of Captain. A figure is seen atop the other building, and Captain gives chase, breaking through multiple windows and doors. Almost reaching the assailant, Captain throws his shield, hoping to incapacitate them. The assailant catches the shield with ease and throws it back at him. With Captain in shock, the figure quickly disappears. At a hospital, Black Widow rushes to the operating room where Fury is recuperating. They talk about the shooter with the metal arm, learning that the bullets used in the assassination were made by Soviets. In the other room, Fury's heart rate goes flat. Tears are shed at the morgue as Captain, Hill, and Black Widow mourn the loss of Nick Fury. As Black Widow confronts Captain about coincidences, Rumlow retrieves Captain, telling him that he is needed back at headquarters. Before he leaves, Black Widow tells Captain that he is a terrible liar. Captain, following Fury's advice, hides the hard disk at a nearby vending machine. Back at the headquarters, Secretary Pierce meets with Captain. They talk about Fury's previous victories. Pierce asks Captain about Fury's motives for visiting his apartment. Captain denies any knowledge. Pierce reveals that S.H.I.E.L.D. successfully apprehended Batroc. He also says that Fury may not have been the most innocent of individuals, stating that the ex-director of S.H.I.E.L.D. had several suspicious affiliation and bank accounts. He accuses Fury of being affiliated with Batroc's group, with the goal of selling off classified information. Captain rebuts him, saying that Fury is not that kind of person. Pierce insists that Fury is indeed incapable of being a traitor. With Fury's belief in tearing down the old ways of the world, Pierce knows that certain enemies had to have come to disable Fury. Pierce reiterates his question about Fury's motives for having visited Captain. Captain simply says that Fury told him not to trust anyone. Pierce warns that anyone who hinders justice for his late friend will regret it. Inside the elevator, Captain and Rumlow share a conversation about the evidence they retrieved. There, Captain notices that some of the agents had their fingers on their gun triggers. Tension rises as more and more people enter the elevator. Slamming the emergency stop, the agents group tackle Captain. pinning him against the elevator doors. They try to immobilize Captain, but he fights through them. In the command center, Sitwell is shown commanding the strike agents. Rumlow tries to incapacitate Captain, but fails, joining the other unconscious agents on the elevator floor. Upon opening the elevator doors, Captain is surprised by a platoon of heavily armed agents. He quickly slices the elevator cords, sending the cabin plummeting. It comes to a soft halt, and Captain attempts to open the doors. More armed men run towards him. Captain quickly thinks of a plan to escape, and jumps onto the roof of the building below. After retrieving his motorcycle, Captain's escape is blocked by advanced road spikes and a military aircraft, but he easily avoids gunfire and shuts down the aircraft's propellers. Back at the control room, Sitwell demands all efforts be made for the location of Captain America. Sharon challenges these orders and asks why S.H.I.E.L.'s resources should serve this manhunt against Captain America. Pierce enters the room and tells them all that the agency's trust had been breached. Captain is now a fugitive after his refusal to share information about Fury's demise. Captain returns to the hospital to retrieve the hard disk and sees that it is no longer where he hid it. Black Widow is seen behind him, chewing gum expectantly. He pushes her into another room to interrogate her. Black Widow reveals that she knows who murdered Fury, a man with the alias, the Winter Soldier. Black Widow shows a scar of her close encounter with the rumored Winter Soldier. She pulls out the hard disk. The duo agree to unravel the secrets that surround Fury's demise. Back at the Security Council, Pierce debates with the other members. Pierce tries to clear Fury's name, but is bombarded with the Council's attempts to reactivate Project Insight. At a mall, Captain and Black Widow attempt to decrypt the hard disk. They have 9 minutes to do so before the strike agents arrive. Black Widow redirects the metadata of the hard disk's contents to locate where the files originally came from. A store attendant approaches them and asks if he could be of any assistance. Black Widow easily tells him that they are merely looking for a honeymoon getaway location. Shortly after, the file's original location is revealed to be at Wheaton, New Jersey. Captain is familiar with this location and pulls out the hard disk, and by this time, the other strike agents are at the mall. The duo casually avoid being detected by pretending to be a couple and sharing a performative kiss. After borrowing a car, Captain and Black Widow drive over to Wheaton. There, Black Widow provocatively asks the captain if that was his first kiss since 1945. They joke around about Captain needing the practice after having had no intimate action in the past years. Captain says, in his defense, that he merely has not found anyone to share that intimacy with. They arrive at the location. Captain recalls that this was where he was trained. Just as Black Widow suggests following a path, Captain notices that one of the buildings is in the wrong place. After destroying the locked door, the duo discover the initial site of S.H.I.E.L.'s foundation. They also see old photos of Howard Stark and Peggy Carter. There is a breeze coming from behind one of the shelves. Sliding it to the side, a secret elevator is revealed. They use a device to unlock the code. They ride the elevator to a deep floor. The lights come to life, revealing an old set of computers. Black Widow does not believe that the hard disk's information could have come from here. Nonetheless, she plugs the hard disk into a port that seemingly does not belong amongst the older machines. The machines hum to life as a prompt for activation appears on the screen. The screen addresses them with their names, Natasha Romanoff and Stephen Rogers. The screen also reveals that it contains the sentience of the Red Skull scientist Arnim Zola, after his passing in 1972. He shares that S.H.I.E.L.D. attempted to use his genius for their cause, but Zola has been able to use the agency's resources to advance that of Hydra's cause instead. Zola recounts the history of the war, where Hydra secretly propagated itself within S.H.I.E.L.D., causing much chaos. He intends to make humanity give up its freedoms willingly, to avoid any unnecessary resistance. Zola aims to accomplish this using the massive artillery behind Project Insight. Zola reveals that he had written an algorithm used by Project Insight, but does not state what it was meant to do. The facility begins to lock down, and Black Widow is alerted to a missile heading straight for the building. Captain removes a grid from the floor and jumps in with Black Widow to provide them with some safety. A few moments later, the duo resurface as a fleet of aircrafts close in. A team of strike agents cover the ground searching for remains. Rumlow discovers a footprint, confirming that Captain survived the airstrike. At his residence, Pierce is surprised by a shadowy figure sitting in the dark. Pierce addresses the figure, saying that their timetable has been moved, and that the two fugitives, Captain America and Black Widow, must be terminated. He tells the figure that they cannot afford any more losses, having already lost Zola. Meanwhile, Captain America and Black Widow seek shelter at Sam Wilson's place. While washing up, Black Widow tells Captain that she regrets joining S.H.I.E.L.D. She believes that she has simply left the KGB for Hydra. Black Widow tells Captain that she owes him her life and promises to do the same for him. Sam offers them breakfast. Over food, they discuss Pierce and Sitwell's potential involvement with Hydra. Sam gives them documents about his past in the military, clarifying that he was never just a pilot. Captain is intrigued, and they plan to retrieve the technology Sam used in his military days. Sitwell meets with Senator Stern. Before leaving for a meeting, the senator whispers "Hail Hydra" to Sitwell. Shortly, Sitwell receives a call from Pierce. He answers, but it isn't Pierce, rather, it is a call from Sam. Sam instructs Sitwell to follow his orders, lest they put him down that instant. Captain and Black Widow push Sitwell onto a rooftop to interrogate him. Sitwell denies all affiliation and is confident that Captain is incapable of throwing him off the roof. Captain agrees, because Black Widow would be more than capable of doing so. After kicking Sitwell off the roof, Black Widow suggests another dating option for Captain. Shortly, Sitwell is carried into the sky by Sam, wearing a full-on flight suit. He is the hero known as Falcon. Out of shock, Sitwell admits that Zola's program is meant to eradicate all the threats to Hydra. He also says that Zola is capable of eradicating future threats by simply evaluating their past. Sitwell realizes that he is also one of Pierce's targets. He tells Captain that, soon, Project Insight will be following through with the destruction of a few million targets. On the drive to S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, the group plan on using Sitwell to bypass the security of Project Insight. Sitwell disagrees, but is immediately pulled out of the car by a bionic arm into the oncoming traffic. The Winter Soldier has come for them. As another vehicle rams into them, the Winter Soldier climbs onto their car and pulls off their steering wheel. Their car eventually crashes, but they escape atop Captain's shield. The Winter Soldier shoots at them with heavy artillery, sending Captain flying off the skyway. Other armed men shoot at Black Widow and Falcon. Black Widow escapes the shooting and is able to shoot at the Winter Soldier. The Winter Soldier and the armed men follow the escaped hero. Atop the skyway, Falcon incapacitates the other shooters, while Captain tackles the others on the ground. The Winter Soldier hunts down Black Widow, rolling a small grenade towards her voice, but as it turns out, the voice he's hearing is coming from a recorded message. After successfully fooling him, Black Widow attempts to strangle the Winter Soldier, temporarily shutting down his arm. She runs away. Captain and the Winter Soldier engage in combat, and Captain gets the upper hand and unmasks the Winter Soldier, revealing that it's Bucky, his old friend who he thought had lost his life. But unfortunately, the Winter Soldier does not seem to remember his old name. Other agents arrive and hold the group down. With a media helicopter hovering above them, Rumlow commands that the group be taken elsewhere. Captain is shocked at this new information. He believes that Zola experimented on Bucky's mind, making him forget who he is. Meanwhile, Black Widow is slowly bleeding out. Falcon tells the two guards to help them out. One of the guards assaults the other and is revealed to be Agent Hill. The strike agents have once again been duped as the group make their escape. Hill brings them to a hidden base. There, the group witness a living and breathing Nick Fury. He faked his own end with a chemical that Bruce Banner created to slow his heartbeat. Fury kept his secrets because he was unsure whom to trust. Back with Hydra, they fix the Winter Soldier's arm. The soldier has flashbacks of the medical operations that Zola had done to him. Pierce visits the soldier, asking for a mission report. The soldier remains unresponsive and is hit by the secretary. The soldier recalls Captain's face. Pierce lies to him about his identity. Pierce tells the soldier that their operations will be enacted tomorrow. They need the soldier to help Hydra accomplish their goals. The soldier remains fixated on the faint memory of a past friendship. Pierce commands the Hydra technicians to freeze the soldier and erase his memories, in preparation for the upcoming operation. Back at the hidden S.H.I.E.L.D. base, the heroes convene about shutting down the helicarriers with reprogramming chips. They must simultaneously reprogram all 3 helicarriers, so that no one loses their lives from them being activated. Captain demands that the operation goes beyond shutting down the helicarriers, but also includes shutting down the now compromised S.H.I.E.L.D. Fury assures Captain that he knew nothing about Bucky's survival. With Captain at the helm, the group agrees that S.H.I.E.L.D. needs to be shut down. Captain recollects a memory with Bucky. Falcon tells Captain that Bucky is no longer his old friend, but is the enemy, having no memory of such old friendships. A little while later, Pierce arrives at the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters with the members of the Security Council. He hands out devices to give them unrestricted access to the facilities. Following a static signal, the technicians attempt to fix the satellite dishes, only to be surprised with the arrival of Captain, Black Widow, and Falcon. At the top room, a countdown is displayed for the launch of the Project Insight. Over the intercom, Captain makes an announcement, warning the S.H.I.E.L.D. agents about Hydra's plans, and the Council is held hostage by the strike agents. The control room is then seized by Rumlow, holding an agent at gunpoint, while Agent Carter also holds Rumlow at gunpoint. Under Captain's orders, they cannot allow Hydra's takeover. Rumlow drops his gun, but cuts Carter's arm with a knife. Guns fire as the Project Insight begins its launch. Running towards the helicarriers, Falcon asks Captain about the difference between the good guys and the bad, given how they were all disguised as S.H.I.E.L.D. Captain simply tells him that if they're shooting at them, those would be the bad ones. Throwing grenades and dodging bullets, Captain runs past the enemy guard. Falcon soars above the helicarriers, barely avoiding the cannon fire. Overlooking the onslaught, Pierce tries to convince the Security Council of the correctness of his actions. The group disagrees and attempts to disarm Pierce. One of the council members shows impressive skill in incapacitating the guards. Removing a digital mask, the council member is revealed to be Black Widow. Avoiding heavy gunfire, Falcon boards one of the helicarriers, but is swiftly chased down by a smaller aircraft. Meanwhile, Black Widow uploads all of Hydra's plans onto the internet. Pierce warns that all S.H.I.E.L.D. secrets will be uploaded too, especially Black Widow's. Black Widow is unfazed, saying that Pierce is going down with them too. Falcon avoids getting shot down by multiple missiles, redirecting them to the helicarrier's engine room. The second helicarrier has been reprogrammed. Down on the ground, the Winter Soldier disables S.H.I.E.L.D. pilots from giving Captain air support. To successfully shut down Insight, Pierce says that 2 Alpha-level members are needed, and with that, Black Widow announces the arrival of Fury. Pierce reasons with Fury, saying that Hydra's goals are like that of Fury's, a wish to end disorder and war. Pierce is forced to run the decryption code through retinal scan. He tells them that Fury's records have been wiped, and he will not be able to run the code. Unfortunately, Fury has an ace up his sleeve, an eye forgotten underneath his eye patch. Falcon retrieves Captain. Bringing him aboard the last helicarrier, Captain is tackled by the Winter Soldier. Tearing off one of the mechanical wings, the soldier prevents Falcon from helping Captain further. Chaos ensues on the ground as Rumlow goes up the stairwell to the council room, and Hill instructs Falcon to intercept him. In the engine room, Captain confronts the soldier, hoping to reason with. As bullets fly and are deflected, the two engage in combat. The two struggle as Captain accesses the mainframe for the reprogramming chips. Upon uploading Hydra's plans, Pierce activates the devices he had the Council wear earlier and burns through the Council member's chest, save for Black Widow's. Captain knocks the soldier unconscious and retrieves the chip. Meanwhile, Rumlow is assaulted by Falcon. With 1 minute remaining before Insight becomes fully operational, Captain tries to return to the mainframe, but takes gunshots from the soldier. So close to their goal, he is rendered immobile. The main base runs Zola's algorithm and searches for Insight's targets. With the number of targeted individuals running up to almost 1 million, Captain musters what little strength he has to insert the reprogramming chip. All initial targets have gone and are reduced to 3, each target being one of the other helicarriers. Captain commands to open fire while he is still on a helicarrier. Hellfire breaks loose as the helicarriers tear each other apart, cannon fire after cannon fire. Captain spots the soldier pinned to the floor. Pierce attempts to make his escape, but Black Widow disables Pierce's device. Shocked, Pierce takes gunfire from Fury. As the helicarriers crash into the cityscape below, Pierce hails Hydra one last time. With Rumlow and Falcon still in combat, the last helicarrier crashes into the S.H.I.E.L.D. building. Falcon still tries to escape the collapsing building, and he jumps onto a helicopter piloted by Black Widow. Captain tries to reason with the soldier yet again. Dropping his shield, Captain takes multiple hits as the soldier wrestles with his memory. The soldier exclaims that Captain is no more than a mission to him. Captain tells him to finish him off, saying that he will stand by the Solider until the end of the line, a key memory they shared before going off to war. A piece of debris dislodges the platform, causing Captain to fall off the helicarrier into the waters below. After a few moments, a figure dives in after Captain. The soldier is revealed to have carried him onto the shore but, in a confused daze, leaves Captain. Back at the hospital, Captain regains consciousness over Falcon's suggested music early on in the film. Agent Carter is shown training her shooting with the other agents. Senator Stern is arrested for having been associated with Hydra. Doctors are trying to resuscitate Rumlow. Black Widow faces a committee interrogating her for her motives, threatening them with imprisonment. Black Widow remains unfazed, knowing that the committee needs her and the other members far more than they need the committee. After all of this, Fury attempts to recruit Captain and Falcon, but they deny him the satisfaction. Later, Captain receives a file from the Black Widow. She jokes that Captain should get in contact with Sharon Carter. The file shows information on the soldier's experience under Zola. Captain tells Falcon that he will be going after Bucky, and Falcon merely asks when they will start.